All right, guys, we're currently sitting at 244 days, 8 hours, 3 minutes, and 47 seconds until GTA 6 drops. But again, who's really counting? Definitely not you guys.
So we've just got the second biggest update to the GTA 6 mapping project since Trailer 2, and it's a big one. So if you caught my last video, I only brushed over the map for a couple of minutes. But I did mention there's so much to dissect about it that it could be a video on its own. And, well, if this is the video. This time we're diving in properly. That's because the pieces are starting to come together in a way we haven't seen before. The map of Leonida is really taking shape, and with it the world feels like it's coming alive.
Or is it pronounced Leonida? I'm not entirely sure. Please feel free to correct me in the comments.
And with maybe even other territories never seen in the franchise before, such as Gloriana, which is based in Georgia and not Virginia, like my dumb ass said in the last video. I know some of you guys roasted me for it, but it's okay, I deserved it a little bit. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I'll be breaking down the most recent updates and overall everything we know so far about the map of GTA 6, how they reshape our understanding of Vice City and the surrounding regions, like the Keys, Port Gellhorn, and Ambrosia. Let's talk about what changed with this latest update and why the details matter for the bigger picture of GTA 6's world. Once again, as I did in my last video, I'm going to split this video into segments, so feel free to scroll around the bits that you are interested or don't know already. And yeah, hit that thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I plan to cover every piece of relevant, accurate info about this game as it comes out. So if you're into this kind of deep dive, don't miss out. Let me start by explaining what the mapping project actually is. If you're not familiar with the mapping project, it's essentially a large-scale community effort to reconstruct the world of GTA 6 before release. Fans study every frame of trailers, analyze leaked material, compare skylines with Florida coastlines, and align landmarks like bridges, streets, and vegetation. Piece by piece, they build an evolving draft of what Leonida may look like. The community has been carefully analyzing every frame of footage we've gotten so far. Bit by bit, all of these findings get layered together into an evolving draft of the map. The project is constantly refined as new material comes out, whether that's another trailer, a screenshot, or a tiny snippet hidden in Rockstar's promotional content. Nothing is taken for granted, and the people contributing are usually careful to mark what's solidly confirmed versus what's still speculative. In that sense, the mapping project is focused on assembling the most accurate picture possible of the game world ahead of release, constantly updated as new information comes in. So if you haven't seen it for yourself, this is what the map looks like as of the recording of this video on the 23rd of September, 2025. You can see on the left bottom corner of the screen all of the people that have contributed to the project. Also, huge shout out to them. This video wouldn't be possible without their help. Make sure to check out their website with the interactive map, which I'll make sure to add in the description. So just as a reference to you guys, this is what the GTA 5 mapping project looked like back in the day. And as you can see, by the time the game came close to its release, it got impressively close to the final map. Now, with GTA 6, we're not quite at that stage yet, but we're getting there. Every new trailer and leak adds another piece to the puzzle, and the drafts are starting to feel more and more solid. This right here is what the current GTA 6 mapping project looks like, and you can already tell how much larger and more complex it's shaping up to be. So just to give you some perspective, here's the GTA 5 map lined up against the current GTA 6 draft. You can see stretches further north and south, with more verticality and variety in the terrain. The general consensus right now is that it's going to be roughly twice the size of GTA 5's map, not just in terms of landmass, but also in how dense and detailed each area feels. And it's worth noting, a lot of the blank spots you'll see aren't oversights. The mapping community is deliberately leaving areas open until they have enough evidence to piece them together, since accuracy is more important than filling space too quickly. For instance, a month ago, this user made a post on the GTA 6 subreddit highlighting a more accurate representation that compares all known and unknown info. So let's jump straight into the biggest changes from the newest update. We're going to be looking at the interactive map on the project's website I mentioned earlier, the one where you can actually click into different spots and see exactly which shot or screenshot confirm that area. It's an insanely useful tool if you're following this closely. So let's start with the keys. This section has seen a massive update compared to what we had right after Trailer 2. A few things stand out right away. Jason's house has been pinned down here, and you can already see how much of Trailer 2 took place just within this area. For example, that shot of Jason walking out of the store with the six-pack of beer, that's right here. The wide establishing shot looking out over the quay seems to be around that same area. Jason's house, the bar where Jason, Lucia, and Cal are hanging out,
which the community has identified as the Rusty Anchor Bar from this other screenshot.
All of this is clustered together. The mappers even figured out that Brian's boat shed is just down the road from Jason's place, which gives us a pretty fleshed out idea of this neighborhood already. Scale-wise, this part of the map feels like it could be comparable to Sandy Shores, but here's the big question we still don't really know. How many keys are actually going to make it into the game? In real life, there are roughly 1,700 islands and keys stretching from the tip of Florida's mainland all the way down past Key West to the Dry Tortugas. Obviously, Rockstar isn't going to recreate every single one. GTA maps have never been about making a perfect one-to-one copy. Instead, they tend to condense and remix real-world landmarks into something that feels authentic but still works for gameplay. From what we've seen so far, it looks like Rockstar has taken inspiration from multiple different keys and folded them into this single, more concentrated landmass called Key Lento. For instance, the Rusty Anchor, which in reality would be located much further down the keys, is now integrated into this one central area. The mapping community has even managed to chart the main road here almost perfectly, which shows just how much progress has been made since the last big update. The map also marks a naval air station and another location labeled Sundown. At this point, we don't have a lot of concrete information about either of them. The trailers haven't really shown us much that ties directly to these spots, and nothing in the leaks has been detailed enough to give us a clear picture. So right now, they're basically just placeholders on the map. Names and rough placements with a lot of speculation attached. But given Rockstar's track record, you can bet these areas won't just be empty space. Naval bases in GTA have always had a mix of restricted zones, high-security gameplay, and usually some role in the larger story. Key West in real life is the southernmost point of the continental US, and it's a mix of pastel houses, heavy tourism, nightlife, and a strong naval presence with its own air station. It's also got that end-of-the-road vibe, with US Route 1 literally ending there at the famous Mile Zero marker. If Rockstar is really pulling from that, Sundown could give us a party town atmosphere with bars, marinas, fishing docks, maybe even a restricted military zone. It would be the perfect last stop feel for this side of the map, while still letting Rockstar remix landmarks and vibes from across the keys into one playable space. Moving on to Ambrosia, which sounds a lot like Amberino from Red Dead 2 to me, this part of the map is where the recent updates really shifted things. So for a long time, the community wasn't sure where exactly Ambrosia would sit. Above Lake Leonida, below it, off to the west. Lake Leonida itself seems clearly modeled on Lake Okeechobee, which is a major landmark in Florida's geography. And now, based on the new evidence, Ambrosia looks like it's set just below the lake. That placement opens up a lot of questions, which I'll get into later. What really helped lock down Ambrosia's location were the landmarks. The racetrack shown in trailers and screenshots matches up almost perfectly with Hendry County Motorsports Park, which sits just southwest of Okeechobee in real life. Then you've got the sugar refinery. In-game, it's mapped in the same general area as the Clewiston Sugar Refinery, another real-world counterpart south of the lake. These kinds of one-to-one anchor points gave mappers a much clearer sense of how this whole section lines up, and airports are shaping up to be a big theme in this game. Besides Vice City International, we've got the Port Gellhorn airstrip on the west side of the map, plus the naval air station in the Keys that I mentioned earlier. These nodes suggest Rockstar wants players to feel the geography more interconnected, maybe with smuggling, travel, or missions tied across different regions. As for Vice City itself, not much has shifted since the last update. The first trailer and the leaks already gave us a detailed look, especially around Vice Beach, which has been almost completely mapped out. The Stockyard area is basically confirmed as the real-life Wynwood, complete with its street culture and the lowriders we saw in Trailer 1. The strip club is also marked down in that neighborhood. Mount Kalaga and Gloriana State. Now let's talk about Mount Kalaga, because this has probably been one of the most debated topics in the mapping community. We still don't know exactly where it sits, but from what we have, it's placed along the northern border of Leonida. That makes it the furthest north we've seen the map stretch so far. The question is whether the land continues beyond that. Mappers have even sketched in a possible Gloriana state with a question mark. It's too early to say for sure, but there are some interesting hints. Based on the screenshots, the rocky terrain of Mount Kalaga doesn't really fit Florida's famously flat landscape. Florida is swampy, marshy, and coastal, not the kind of place you'd expect to see cliffs or mountains. But if you look just north into Georgia, specifically Providence Canyon State Park in southwestern Georgia, the resemblance is striking. The colors, the rocky formations, the ridges, they look like a strong candidate for Rockstar's inspiration. So even if Gloriana doesn't become a fully fleshed out state, it seems likely that Rockstar borrowed that kind of Georgia terrain for variety. And that's the key here, variety. Even though it would be amazing to have 2 full states, I think Rockstar's approach will be similar to what they did in San Andreas. Most of the map there was California, but you also had little sections that clearly pulled from Nevada and Arizona. I feel like we're seeing the same thing here. Florida as the core, but with a sliver of Georgia blended in to break up the monotony. I wouldn't expect anything urban like Atlanta, as Rockstar seems laser-focused on Florida's cities, but some rural Georgian land makes sense. Of course, this has already sparked arguments. Some fans say the mountains feel unrealistic for a Florida-based map, while others are glad for the terrain change because otherwise it would feel too flat and repetitive. You can never please everyone. It's a bit weird, but it kind of reminds me of when Ubisoft put up mountain ranges and pine forests around Chicago in the first Watch Dogs. It looked completely out of place because the real Illinois landscape is flat for miles. At least here, Rockstar seems to be placing Mount Kalaga far from Vice City, not right next to it, so it doesn't break immersion. And personally, if Rockstar ever did want to tackle a city like Chicago in the future, I think they'd nail it in a way Ubisoft never did. But for now, Mount Kalaga feels like Rockstar's way of balancing realism with gameplay, blending Florida's authenticity with just enough outside influence to keep the map diverse and interesting. Grass Rivers, Hamlet, Mariana County, and more. Lastly, let's touch on a few other changes that came with this update. Smaller details, but still really important for getting a sense of how the map is shaping up. One of the most noticeable tweaks has been to the Grass Rivers. These areas have shifted a lot since the last draft. The layout has been refined to look much closer to how Florida's waterways actually weave through the wetlands, and that gives us a better idea of how travel through the Everglades region might feel. Rockstar clearly wants this part of the world to have its own character, not just big open stretches of swamp, but something that feels like a living, explorable network of channels and passages. Moving up the coast, Watson Bay has gotten a big update too. Mappers have gone in and done a lot more detailed work here, some of them even 3D modeled the layout to get more accurate road mapping and coastline structure. The consensus is that Watson Bay is heavily inspired by Cedar Key, which in real life sits much farther north in Florida, up on the Gulf Coast. But Rockstar has shifted it way down south, closer to the Everglades. That might sound odd at first, but Rockstar has done this plenty of times before. They pick real-life landmarks or towns they like, then relocate them into the game world wherever they think it fits best. It's less about being geographically precise, and more about creating a world that flows together while still giving you that "I recognize this" moment if you know the real Florida. Then there's Hamlet, which has also seen some adjustments. In the last video, I talked about the smokestacks that were originally mapped further north. Now, with this update, they've been shifted further south because we can actually spot them in a Watson Bay screenshot, which pins down their location more accurately. And honestly, Hamlet is shaping up to be a really interesting area. In GTA 6, it looks like they're avoiding that emptiness. If you're starting from the Keys and making your way north, you won't just have this massive drive before hitting Vice City. Instead, you'll actually pass through another settlement, Hamlet, and then Watson Bay, before finally hitting the core of Vice City. That extra density of towns, landmarks, and in-between areas is going to make the map feel much fuller and more alive than GTA 5's did. It means less dead space and more variety, which is something players have been asking for. So yeah, all of these little adjustments, the rivers, Watson Bay, Hamlet, they might not sound like headline updates compared to Vice City or Mount Kalaga, but they're the glue that holds the world together. They're the details that make driving across the map feel natural, connected, and believable. And that's pretty much everything we're going to cover in this video. Like I said earlier, the map is evolving constantly, and with each update, we're not only seeing new landmarks confirmed, but also corrections and refinements that make the picture clearer. I'll keep following these updates and breaking them down, so if you want to stay in the loop as the map takes shape, make sure to hit that subscribe button and thumbs up the video. It really helps me keep digging into all this. And if you haven't already, check out my previous video where I broke down every confirmed detail we know about GTA 6 so far. That one gives you the full context behind everything we're talking about here, so if you're new to the channel, I definitely recommend watching it. After this one, I made sure in that breakdown to only pull from reliable sources like official trailers, screenshots, developer statements, and the leaks that have been consistently verified by the community. No wild rumors, no my cousin's roommate works at Rockstar type of stuff. It's a clean, accurate foundation that makes following along with updates like today's way easier. Anyways, thanks for checking out this vid with another deep dive, and I'll see you in the next one.